The dark side of Formula One: fatal accidents and safety evolution. Formula One is known as the pinnacle of motorsport. Fast cars, glamorous races, legendary drivers. But beneath all the glory, there's a darker side. A history written with danger, tragedy, and loss. For decades, stepping into an F1 car meant gambling with your life. From fiery crashes to fatal accidents, drivers pushed the limits in machines that were often faster than the safety measures built to protect them. But over time, out of tragedy came change. Today, Formula One is one of the safest sports in the world, and every major crash that shook the racing community contributed to that transformation. Let's go through the story of how F1 went from deadly to safer than ever, and why safety in this sport has always been paid for at the highest price. One of the most famous and horrifying crashes in F1 history happened in 1976. Niki Lauda, Ferrari's star driver, was racing at the Nürburgring, a track so long and dangerous it was nicknamed the Green Hell. On August 1st, Lauda's car suddenly lost control, hit the wall, and burst into flames. He was trapped inside as fire engulfed him. Other drivers stopped mid-race, rushing to pull him out of the wreckage. Lauda survived but suffered severe burns, damaged lungs from inhaling toxic fumes, and was left permanently scarred. Just weeks later, he returned to racing, an act of courage that turned him into a legend. But his accident highlighted how little protection drivers really had. Fireproof suits were still primitive, and cars weren't designed with survivability as the top priority. Lauda's crash sparked conversations about circuit safety and car design. The Nürburgring was deemed too dangerous for F1 and was removed from the calendar. Step by step, safety was starting to be taken seriously. But tragedy was far from over. Fast forward to 1994, one of the darkest weekends in F1 history. At the San Marino Grand Prix in Imola, disaster struck not once, but twice. First, during qualifying, Roland Ratzenberger crashed at high speed, hitting the wall with such force that he died instantly. He had only just begun his F1 career, and his death shocked the paddock. The very next day, during the race, tragedy struck again. Ayrton Senna, considered one of the greatest drivers of all time, lost control of his car at the Tamburello corner. He slammed into the wall at over 200 km/h. The impact was fatal. Senna's death devastated the sport. He wasn't just a champion, he was a global icon. His loss forced Formula One to face a harsh truth. The sport needed urgent change. Following Imola, F1 introduced stricter crash tests, circuit redesigns, and changes in car construction. Corners were made safer, runoff areas were expanded, and cockpit protection improved. The FIA, Motorsport's governing body, made safety the #1 priority. But as history showed, lessons in F1 often came after tragedy. The years after 1994 saw massive improvements in driver safety. Cars were built with stronger survival cells, fuel tanks became safer, and helmets were upgraded with advanced materials. Circuits added gravel traps, barriers, and wider runoffs. By the early 2000s, fatal accidents in Formula One became rare. Drivers still suffered crashes, but more and more of them walked away unharmed. When Robert Kubica had a horrifying crash in 2007 in Canada, his car was destroyed, but he survived with only a sprained ankle. Similarly, Felipe Massa's 2009 accident, where a spring hit his helmet at high speed, showed the need for more cockpit protection, leading to new innovations in head safety. But even with all the progress, the danger never fully disappeared. In 2014, Formula One faced another tragedy that reminded everyone of the sport's risks. At the Japanese Grand Prix, Jules Bianchi lost control of his car in wet conditions and collided with a recovery vehicle that was removing another crashed car. The impact was devastating. Bianchi suffered severe head injuries and fell into a coma. He passed away 9 months later, in 2015. His death was a turning point. It showed that despite decades of progress, there were still weaknesses in F1's safety system. Out of this tragedy, came one of the most important safety innovations in modern Formula One, the halo. In 2018, F1 introduced the halo, a titanium structure above the cockpit designed to protect a driver's head from flying debris and impacts. At first, fans and even some drivers criticized it, saying it looked ugly and went against the spirit of open-wheel racing. But the halo quickly proved its worth. In multiple accidents, including Romain Grosjean's fiery crash in Bahrain 2020, Lewis Hamilton's near miss in Monza 2021, and Zhou Guanyu's terrifying flip at Silverstone 2022, the halo saved lives. What was once unpopular is now accepted as one of the most important innovations in F1 safety. The halo turned out to be the difference between life and death in situations that would have been fatal in earlier decades. Today, Formula One is safer than ever before. Advanced medical teams are on standby at every race. Cars undergo strict crash tests before they even touch the track. Fireproof, suits can withstand intense heat for long periods, and helmets are stronger than ever. Yet, danger will always remain a part of F1. When cars travel at over 300 km/h, accidents will happen. The difference is that now, drivers have a much higher chance of surviving them. Fans get to enjoy the speed, the drama, and the battles on track, without constantly fearing the worst outcome. The price of safety has been high, but it has saved countless lives. The history of Formula One safety is built on sacrifice. Every improvement, stronger cockpits, safer helmets, fireproof suits, redesigned circuits, can be traced back to accidents and the drivers who paid the ultimate price. From Niki Lauda's survival, to the heartbreak of Ayrton Senna, to the memory of Jules Bianchi, each story reminds us that F1 has always balanced between glory and danger. Today, drivers compete in machines that are faster and safer than ever, but the legacy of those lost ensures their risks are never forgotten. Formula One has come a long way from the deadly early days to the modern era of safety. But the question remains, how much further can it go? Should the sport keep pushing limits, or has it already gone as far as it safely can? If you found this deep dive into the dark side of F1 interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss future stories about the incredible world of Formula One. And in the comments, tell us, which moment in F1 safety history shocked you the most? Was it Lauda's fire, Senna's crash, or Grosjean's miracle escape? Your thoughts will spark the next conversation.